In 4 years, we have invested over $62 billion in infrastructure work on the east coast of Damar. And for this year alone, on our budget, about $32 billion is being spent on the east coast of Damar for areas such as, for example, Good Hope, LBI is where we're speaking about, Luziknan, Nonpareil, Enterprise, etc. Take that into consideration when you're also looking at a country that we have competing sectors, we have competing interests. You are coming in a time when the infrastructure work for your area has commenced because there are different phases, so we are able to move ahead and be able to start infrastructure work on the entire area while we have been allocating in phases. Similarly, as part of our work program has been where, and I'm speaking here about home ownership and the complete process, we have a number of unregulated areas or areas where we have squatting. So for example, on the East Coast itself, we have by and large regularized 17 areas overall since we are back in office, and about 4 of those on the east coast of Demerara. But for those who are listening, by the end of the first quarter of 2025, it is our intention to have another 9 areas be regularized. And I'm speaking here, for example, of Vigilance South, Vigilance North, College North, the ENDRAGT south of the railway, Enmore, both Newtown and Busy, Enmore Hope West, Enterprise Block 8, as well as Enterprise Market Street. I'm saying all of this to reflect that for 2015 to 2020, no area, and I repeat, no area under the APNU tenure was regularized or ownership was provided for. So you'll understand, therefore, that the work that we're doing and the impact on our citizens is bringing joy and satisfaction to our people. We have a mandate, and so, for example, we have a demand that is more than the supply. For example, here in Region 4, our pending applicants is around somewhere about 40,000 pending applicants in the system when you go to our LMS. And that is why we did announce, and we've set up a portal as well as a special desk at the office to document for those who have 2019 or who are pending applicants for 2019 and prior, because we also want to be able to clear all of those older applicants so that we can move the years upward as to be able to do this as a mandatory for the more recent years. The reality is, though, you will look at us sometimes when we were having activity in Region 3, and you may hear about years that are beyond 2019, because we also have, as I said, in competing interests means competing lands, use. So you have for agriculture purpose. We have been able to get additional lands in Region 3, for example, and now in Region 6, so it will allow us to do more. But Region 4 itself, the land is now infinity, and you will recognize that we have reached to the Conservancy on the East Bank. So that's how far we have gone on the East Bank. And I know there's somebody who's going to post to say, I'm waiting, but I can't get through. And we've been saying on the East Bank of Demerara, we have saturated our allocations on the East Bank. So there's no new area that we have available from here to Grove that is available for allocation. And that is why you've seen over the last 2 years, all the allocation exercises that we've had, all our Dream Realize activities are on the east coast of Demerara. And I want to say too that we did commit, and we've said to you that the East Coast, because we're going inwards, eventually will mirror what is happening on the East Bank. So very soon, you will have work commencing, because under the Ministry of Public Works, commencing of the extension for the Aubrey Barker Road. So the Aubrey Barker Road, we have an alignment that goes all the way to Enmore. And on that alignment, therefore, for you, you will consider this the back. So if you're the ENDRACT or LBI, you will say it's the back. When that alignment is complete, or the road is complete for that alignment, you will actually become the front, because you will have a direct route that brings you to all the way to Aubrey Barker. Well, you can divert even to the Ogle 4-lane as you may seem fit. So the first phase to start from the Aubrey Barker end, which will run through our scheme going to Ogle, which will be to the Ogle 4-lane, will start. The awards are currently being made under the Ministry of Public Works, and then, of course, phases it will happen in. So for the East Coast of Demerara, we have a massive program that is already ongoing as part of the macro program, and that is, one, to deal with and address whereby we're committed that by 2025, 90% access to treated water on the coastline, meaning from Charity to Crabble Creek. Well, now that we have Molson Creek, we'll have to include that, but that's on the phase 2. 90%. And as a result, on the East Coast of Demerara, for example, you have already work that is happening at Bachelor's Adventure, where a new treatment plant is being done. That is expected to be completed in January for commissioning, and that captures a number of areas within that Melanie Damashana and Enterprise College and etc. Then we have right near here for Cummings Lodge, another treatment plant that is being done, and that's about 90%. So we're hoping that should be completed by the end of the year or latest in January, and that's for East Coast. Similarly, to complete the East Coast of Demerara, so I only mentioned 2. To complete the East Coast of Demerara in terms of massive infrastructure for treatment plants is the Hope Canal. That is where we'll capture the freshwater source to be able to channel it and then be treated to water that comes to your household. And that project is being tendered as I speak. When the Hope Canal treatment plant per se is implemented, therefore, it means we will have 100%, not 90, 100% access on the East Coast of Demerara, because the Hope Canal is intended to capture from between Good Hope to somewhere around Cove and John to Good Hope within that precinct. So what else is happening? We have a number of wells that already started to drill. For example, in La Reconnaissance, in Monrepo, La Reconnaissance already they've started about 50%. Monrepo, they're doing the site preparation. The Monrepo well will service for the treatment plant, because we're upgrading the treatment plant in Monrepo. Will service the ENDRACT as well as Good Hope, and then we have La Reconnaissance, which will service Luzignan and Enmore. So that will let you understand that by the time you are able to access your lot, and by the time you're building, we want to be able to start ensuring that the utilities are in there.
This is our 50th Dream Realized Land Allocation event from 2020 to now. This is our 50th. So for us, even on us, I don't like for it to get lost, the impact of what we're doing, because the program is so big and we have to be doing this so often. I would hate for it to become a routine for us and we lose the impact of it. The People's Progressive Party civic government understands the potential the housing program has to transform lives. We understand how dramatically it can improve your life, not only for today, but in the future. And that giving you a house lot or giving a family a house lot, it has that effect that will multiply for years and for generations to come. And in understanding that our government and our president has made resources available to the Ministry of Housing for us to make this possible, for us to do all the work that we have been doing, that will have a direct impact on your lives for decades and generations to come. For many of you, this is the first asset that your family will have. Some of you are becoming first-time property owners. Maybe your parents were never property owners and they left nothing for you. And you have made it to a point in your life where you are now going to forever change the trajectory of your family by creating intergenerational wealth. And I congratulate you for getting to that point. And I hope that the impact of what you will achieve today is also not lost on you. And that you will teach your children and your grandchildren how important it is to save and to be focused on acquiring property. Because we know spending out your money is not going to get you anything in the future. But also just putting it in the bank will not earn you anything in the future, because interest rates at bank on savings do not keep up with inflation, and you know that. You earn less than 1% interest rate on your savings account. So for you to really multiply your savings or multiply your investment, you invest in real estate. All of the people who are millionaires and billionaires around the world own real estate. And in understanding that multiplying effect of what owning a property can do for your income and for your net income, that is why we pay so much attention to the housing program. This is how we are transferring wealth to the people of our country. So when you receive a house lot today, it is already worth more than you will pay for it, because it is subsidized. Like the NDC chairman mentioned, it is heavily subsidized. 80-85% of it, of the cost of developing that house lot and the amenities around that house lot, is subsidized by the government, is paid for by the government of Guyana. And so you are paying the 10, 15, 20% of the cost to develop that house lot. So from the moment you make a down payment on that land, you have already increased your net worth, because the value of it is more than what you paid for it. And as the years go by, and as these schemes develop and businesses move into those areas, and as we build out the roads and improve them to finish level, and people move into the area, and you have a full, thriving, sustainable community, imagine what will be the value of that asset, that house lot that you paid for in the year 2024. Imagine its value in 2034 and going into the future. You would have changed completely the mindset of your family and of your young children who are watching you and observing all of the decisions that you are making for the family. And they too will grow up and want to get of their own. And you will give them a better start, because you will be putting them on a path where they are already owners. They already understand what it is to own property and to desire to have more and to put their future family on a better path, a more successful path. That is our dream for every single Guyanese. And it's not just a dream. It's a dream realized. It is something that we are putting into action. It is something that we are investing in, and it's not easy. When you come to these events, you are almost at the end of that process, but a lot of work has gone into the planning and execution to get to this point. And the NDC chair attempted to try to explain. In some cases, we are taking canals and making roads, or turning it into land, filling it, and changing completely the landscape so we can make thriving housing areas. Because that's the land we have to work with. Most of it is former land that was under cultivation. And so we have to transform that piece of land to thriving housing developments. And so it's a lot of investment, it's a lot of planning, a lot of construction that has to go into creating new infrastructure, drilling wells to ensure that people have clean water and electricity when they occupy their house lots. And then working with the banks and other commercial institutions once you have acquired that land so that you can acquire a loan or a mortgage to start your construction. And so you have a long road ahead, but it is an exciting road, and I want you to really appreciate yourself for getting to this point and realizing the impact of what this housing program has been doing for ordinary people. There is no other housing program in the world that is comparable to that of the People's Progressive Party Civic Government Housing Program in Guyana. There is not another program that is comparable. And I say that without fear of contradiction. So we are very fortunate here in Guyana, and I want you to utilize this asset, realize the potential and the power that it has to transform your lives and that of your kids.
You will be giving a house lot at the ENDRAGT area and elsewhere at LBI. But I just want to say something, how much ministers will tell you how much this government has been subsidizing for house lots. Because the land that they are giving out were cane fields. And just permit me a couple seconds to let me just give you a picture of what a cane field look like. In the ENDRAGT area, the land is about 100 rod, stretching east to west. I will give you an example for one field only, right? And in most cases, the field is made up of 12 one-rod bed. So, and between every bed, there is a drain. And then there is two canals, one to the north, one to the south. That is where the pond comes in, and then the workers will load the cane to carry it back to the factory to produce sugar. But there is another bigger trench, deeper and wider, that is called the middle walk, right? That is where the pond comes from the factory and then goes into the canal for them to load. So you can see it is a lot of preparation to prepare these lands to become house lot. It's not a smooth something. And I'm very thankful.
It's been 15 years since I've applied for the house loan. I'm a little excited about having it. Make sure by way of logs, and I'm thankful for it. Well, the next step is when I know exactly where it is and light and water is in, I will start building immediately.
I'm thankful to the government and the Ministry of Housing for granting me this. Thank you very much.